Hello, my name is Troy White. I'm with Hoodoo Financial. Today, I am discussing the topic on investing your values. So, first off, let's talk about a little bit of the who, what, why, and how. Investing your values first is about putting your money where your mouth is. And what I want to talk about today is identify for you just some of the various ways that we can put our money where our mouth is, meaning in make investments where your values are, or make sure that your investments don't go against your values. How can we use investing as a tool, as a almost say as a weapon, as an instrument to achieve our mean our goals uh, as a group? We're going to talk about it. And I'm going to talk about some of the, right now, there's a lot of protests going on in America. And, I say right now could be any time. So, there's often a protest in America for some reason or another because there's a lot of things to protest about. So I won't even tell you what the timing is, but the point is going to be the same. So one thing that happens um, when there's protests, riots tend to happen. When the riots happen, then you get a lot of conversation about, oh, this is bad and they shouldn't do it that way. We need peaceful protest. And obviously, everyone must make the blanket statement that uh, it should be peace everywhere at all times. However, I live on Earth. There has never been peace on Earth. There's never been peace in America. There has always been need to protest and stand up and overthrow uh, not governments, but unruly overlords of some kind, somewhere. And so that we shouldn't assume that that's not going to happen continuously, as it has from all of human civilization to now and beyond. So, with that uh, realization in mind, I seek solutions and actions that lead to positive outcomes. So, with that frame of reference, is where I'm coming with in terms of why I think you should invest your values. Because there's that social component as to why, there's that political component as to why, there's a ethical component, religious component, and a personal and an obligation, to yourself, to your family, on and on. I'm preaching now, but I say that, and I'm going to back it up as we go forward. So right now, as an example, protests are happening. Corporations are bowing down to the the pressure that has been put upon them by the protesters and the light that is shined on the evildoers, and they are standing in that light, and they want to get out of that light and let the evildoers stand alone. And so corporations are now making changes based on social justice issues. Some of the ways this is occurring is, the company policies changing, companies looking into how just mere fact that they track percentages of African Americans in their corporations was a difficult thing to do. But now that especially the tech corporations have done that, we see that uh, these liberal organizations are only liberal uh, to themselves, but they are just as they can be just as separatist as any other, as the Ku Klux Klan. You know, there was a statement I heard. I won't even repeat it if I can't pin it down exactly, but it was a great. It was a great statement that spoke to that. So anyway, some examples. Lately, Quaker Foods, they decided that here's a statement: to ensure that our portfolio of brands reflect our values and meet our consumers' expectations. They're changing the images on. I think it was. In fact, they're even changing Quaker Oats. They're not going to have that white dude on there no more. But I think they own Aunt Jemima waffles and 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 syrup. You know, and the interesting thing about that is those symbols on their brands do have uh, a particular racial connotation. However, our lack of understanding of history is misinterpreting that. In fact, the Quakers were the best friends of African Americans in this country, and that's why they have Aunt Jemima on there because they are fond of African Americans. They were an integral link of the Underground Railroad. Uh, Harriet Tubman worked hand in hand with the Quakers. So that's a long history of Caucasian Americans helping on the side of what's right in this country, in our history. So those who do wrong have no excuse. They had uh, uh, members of their own community who were vehemently against some of their actions. But anyway, I'm preaching again, excuse me. So anyway, another example, Uncle Ben's, Aunt Jemima, Starbucks is another example. They had to make changes based on the outrage when uh, they kicked some young entrepreneurs out of their establishment because they were young black males, and I guess that pumped fear into the heart of the worker, and that worker called the police, and the African American gentlemen were accosted, and got into a verbal battle, and as we know, that can lead to your death. And so it was caught on film, and Starbucks had to pay a pretty price for that in public public opinion and stocks. That affects your stock price as well. And then now that we're on this aspect of Starbucks, I want to point something out to you. So the whole point of me talking about this protest thing is that I want you to focus on ways we are using our dollars to protest with. So yeah, so I am an advocate of um, uh, other than nonviolent protest. It's not necessarily want no individual to get hurt, but damage of property is uh, is collateral damage, and and let that be a lesson to you. Maybe that property owner, be it in private or government property, will do an analysis and see that it behooves them to to impress upon the powers that be, the law enforcement, to not go against what is right because it costs dollars. Because the result will be that stuff get tore down. So that's up to them to do the cost benefit analysis. But what what companies have identified is that the cost of saying nothing, the cost of doing nothing, is higher than the cost of remaining quiet. And and that comes in public opinion. That comes with our $1.3 trillion just in the African American community alone. And if of consumer spending power, and when we utilize that spending power for the good, and as activists, uh, we can press upon corporations to and get them to bend to our will. Period. Period. That's how it works. Dollars speak more than your marching. You can, excuse my French, but it's an old saying, money talks, bullshit walks. I don't want to do the marching. I want to control the levers of government and society with our investment dollars. So, that's been my particular mission. Others can handle the foot soldiering, the marching. Politicians become forced to act based on the pressure from the corporations. So let's follow the chain. If we galvanize, any population galvanizes their consumer spending and investment dollars into a certain direction, corporations will respond, period, because it is in their financial best interest. And remember, as a shareholder of corporations, you have a vote. And the purpose of a corporation is to maximize shareholder value. Remember that. Maximize shareholder value. Now, in investment analysis and in analyzing stock valuation, when you study uh, the corporate documents on the balance sheet, I want you to do this for yourself. Go on Yahoo Finance and just look up a corporation. Pull up their 10K report and look for yourself. I want you to find a line item on their balance sheet. It's an asset. That asset is called intangible value. Or look for, it may have that line may say intangible value or intangible assets. So intangible assets primarily are the value in your name, in your brand. Your brand comes with confidence and people are going to buy it. So if that confidence is damaged and people are not going to buy your product for any particular reason, especially one that you are not addressing, that harms shareholder value. That reduces the intangible asset of the corporation. So literally, this company is worth less. Similar to Donald Trump's methods of valuation of his company. He has the intangible value so high, and he has a good argument that it is true. His name alone can generate income. There's a value in that. I mean, his name alone has consistently been enough for lenders to lend him money. So there's value in his name, even after he has gone bankrupt. So that is the intangible value. Coca-Cola. Look at their intangible value on there. I just want you to check it out. So it's a large number and it's an item that can be affected by you investing your values and by the community expressing their values. A towards a corporation. If a corporation is a bad actor and you voice that in through the community and sing it from the mountaintop and the whole community is singing it, that company will respond or they will continue to lose value. They will continue to have more sellers of their stock than buyers, and which means that's a free fall downward. That's how it works. That's how the stock value goes down. So politicians become forced to act because the corporations, uh, when they see it in their best interest, so they have lobbyists. So they'll say to a politician, "Hey, you need to do something about this. Hey, these people over here are mad because of X, Y, and Z. We don't want to contribute. We want them to buy our stuff. So, hey, why don't you do something about that? Fix it, so we don't, so they can buy our stuff again." That's the argument they're going to constantly hear, and then the constituents of the politicians are constantly going to have their arms up raised at the town hall meetings when the politicians come home from Washington. Then the community constituents, the voters, are going to be in there, and which you are one of, you need to go to the politician and voice your concern, especially when it is a financial component to that. That's how they act. They don't want to hear your touchy feely heart warming problem. You know, there's a time and place for that. They want you to identify the issue. How can they help you? How is it going to help them do it? And then remember something. In America, nothing moves but the money. So as an activist, uh, often activists aren't knowledgeable enough to do this, but unless you figure out a win-win, uh, a method of achieving your goal and generating economic activity in in achieving your goal, then a politician is not going to be on your side. But if you have thought through a method of distribution of your solution, and that solution involves economic activity in the district where your politician has the vote, then you have a powerful advocate on your side. So think that way. Just marching and saying, "Hey, you should do what's right," and that's never been the case. Why are you still trying to do it that way? Hey, let's get some action. Let's take the steps that are going to get action. And if we need to do the right moves to force action, financial moves, force action. So, so the House and Senate Republicans get pushed to enact changes uh, when those forces come together. So, consumer economy is what we have, and theoretically, the consumer is always right. And so, if the consumer is not complaining, nothing is going to change. You do not have to accept bad service, bad products. You should speak with your dollars, and not just with your dollars, with your actions. If there's a poor service being provided, then you should step in and provide a superior service because there's a market for it. If you can't get good service, then bam, there's your gold mine. All right. Um, I got some political notes. I don't think I want to go there. I want to just rest on the direction that we're going and encourage you to invest your values. So let's cover some of the other methods, of investing your values. So, for instance, at our firm, in our portfolio building accounts, I have the ability to do what's called asset exclusion. So I work with clients who have particular interests and objections to exclude certain assets from their portfolio. So, for instance, Their portfolio may consist of 50 individual stocks. And I always encourage clients to do the research, understand their portfolio, what it consists of, and know those companies. And as you study those companies, make your value judgment on what they do, how they do, and where they do what they do. Because you need to make your money do the talking. Your money speaks louder than words. If your investment dollars are in that corporation, you support that corporate activity. If you're an investor in Shell Oil, no, I don't have anything against Shell Oil, but often these oil companies are picked on by those who are environmentalists. So if that's your thing and you want to exclude those type of assets from your portfolio, then in the background through technology, I can make sure that those particular assets are excluded from your portfolio. And similarly, we'll be on the lookout for replacements in a particular industry. So if a client tells me, hey, can you help me find a stock, a company that is in a particular sector that is a competitor to this bad guy, you know, it doesn't matter the company, then we are speaking with our dollars. We are opposing the competitor by investing in its competition. So, so if you're against company A, then investing in company B is it is not necessarily harming that company, but is showing our support for the good doer instead of the evil doer. Is what I mean. Your investment dollars should speak for you. And so ask yourself, what are your values as it when it comes to investing? Do you have industries that you don't want to be involved in? Do you have industries that you are eager to get involved in? If there are there activities in our economy that you want to support? And all of those things we can research together. And it's a mutual thing. If that's your goal, then I'm going to work with you. I'm going to coach you and help you and help do the analysis to identify a, a good investment within the sector that we'll look at all of the options, and of those options, uh, which of those companies has the ethical practices, the business operations, um, and is just the type of company that you feel deserves your dollars, deserves your hard work, because that's what your dollars are, a representative of your hard work. So if you want if you want your dollars to make a positive impact on society instead of a negative impact on society, then let's do that through your investment portfolio. And I just want to bring that information to you today. Put it on top of your mind. Thanks for listening. We'll holler soon.